Hello, I'm Mark Clements. I've been growing giant pumpkins since 1996. In 1996, I grew my first pumpkin. It was like 520 pounds. Took it to Port Elgin, Canada. What I'd like to share with you today is the top 5 things that I think are necessary to grow your first pumpkin, say between 500 and 900 pounds. What it takes to grow a 500 to 900 pounder, a pumpkin under 1,000 pounds, and get to the finish line. I'm going to share that with you today. Please join us at Keep It a Secret Home and Garden, and please comment, ask your questions below. There will be a part 2 video to this where I explain what I think it takes to grow a 1-ton pumpkin. We'll have part 2 following in a week or 2. But please join us today for the top 5 things it takes to grow a 900-pound pumpkin, 900 and under. All right? Please join us. All right, number one on my list, seed. You must have a pumpkin seed. And you might say, well, of course, Bubba, you got to have a pumpkin seed. But yeah, I believe if you want to grow between 5 and 900 pound pumpkin, you need a good controlled cross pumpkin seed. I mean, sure, you can buy them off the shelf at the big box store, you know, blah, 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 giant pumpkin seed, but those are commercial, open pollinated seeds. You'd be putting a lot of work into it. There's a lot of work growing these pumpkins. A lot of work into that for gambling on an open pollinated commercial grown seed. So I think you need to go to either a club. You can buy some great seeds at some clubs. There's the St. Croix Club in Minnesota, St. Croix Growers. There's Joel Holland's site, Ronnie Wallace's site, Organic Wallace Wonder. There's my site, worldwidegiantgrowers.com. Lots of places you can buy seeds, or if you want, some people that really don't want to buckle down and buy a seed, you can find somebody to give you a seed. I'd give seeds out, but I'd be spending all day long giving them out. That's why I sell them, and I also sell them to raise money. I've always sold them to raise money to raise prizes. But anyways, you need a good seed. You need a controlled pollination like my 450 Clements here. I'm going to show you the 450 seed. It's a nice, big, thick seed. This is a cross between the 1734 Clements and the 1885 Werner. Now this seed, I'll guarantee you, has the genetics to go big. It may even be a little better than you need to hit 900 pounds. But get you a good seed. Wherever you go about it, however you go about it, get you a good seed. Don't buy them off the shelf. That would be step 1 in growing your first 5 to 900 pound pumpkin. All right, going through my list. I know my eyes are a little bloodshot here today. I've been working all day. They're a little strained, so I apologize. Painting, drywall dust. It gets to the old eyeballs after a while. Hey, number two. First, I look at the list, then I'll give you the gist. All right. Number 2, critter and insecticides. We'll pile them together. Critters and insecticides will do you in no time. I'll even give you a little date on this. All right. June 1st, cucumber beetles attack. You're going to need some 7 dust. If you want to go organically, that's fine. You need to get out there June 1st, lift up your cots, find the cucumber beetles. They'll be hiding under the cotyledons. Those 2 cotyledon leaves is where I usually find them first in the north about June 1st. If you're down south, you're going to find them about May 15th. All right, so it depends on where you live. But the cucumber beetles will start having wild orgies on your plants, and the next thing you know, you got bacteria, wilt, you got all kinds of problems. So you got to stop the cucumber beetles. Then about mid-June in the north, you got the squash vine borer. You got to deal with the squash vine borer. All right, they will wipe out your plant. Even if you're just trying to grow a 700-pound pumpkin, the squash vine borer will destroy your plant by mid-July. You're cooked. You're done. So you need to have some protection for that. And then there's the famous woodchuck. All right, you must eradicate the woodchucks. What I like to do with the woodchucks is I like to trap them in the off season. Get your traps out early, set them out there. I'll link this back to my how to double your odds in catching a woodchuck. All right, it's very good information. Check out that video, because the woodchucks, you don't want to wait till you got a beautiful pumpkin out there and then now you'll be biting your fingernails. They're going to get the pumpkin. You don't want to wait till they bite off your main vines. you want to get them early on. So trap your critters. And then powdery mildew is a big one. You're going to have to fight powdery mildew, whether you want to do it with calcium uptake, the organic way, and I can link this back to some videos with calcium uptake and powdery mildew, or if you want to do it chemically. But powdery mildew will wipe you out by the 1st of August if it's prevalent in your area. It's a big one. So critter and insecticides are number 2. Okay, number 3. Now I'm trying not to wander out too far and get into too many other areas, because we are going to have a part 2 video on what it takes to grow a 1-ton pumpkin. And I'm going to console with Josiah Brandt. I already have, in fact, and maybe even get some of his feedback on that video on what it actually takes to grow a 1-ton pumpkin. All right, but for now, number 3 is water twice a week. If you want to grow yourself a pumpkin 500 to 900 pounds, you need to plan on coming home at least twice a week and watering the plant. All right, now if you get rain, you can miss one of those waterings, but that plant will need water twice a week, would be my minimum figure for that. Back when I grew my 520 pounder, that's what I did. I thought, at least twice a week I'd make it home. I was in my 30s. I was working 10 to 12 hours a day back then, long days. So I'd get home and I'd make sure that plant got watered twice a week. All right, so moving on with that. Water doesn't really matter. You could use chlorinated water, not a big deal. Sprinkler, hose, just water the plant. Get that plant water the entire plant twice a week. All right, that is number 3. We'll move on. Number 4 on the list, most important things to do is you're gonna have to do some vine training. Now the vine training, we typically grow a main vine straight out and have secondary vines. Now you don't have to get too crazy with this to grow a 500 to 700 pounder or 500 to 900 pounder, but you're gonna have to do what's the most important is fruit positioning. If you don't position that fruit and get it 90 degrees, get it up in the air and get the vine off the ground, and the leaves are gonna wanna root into the ground. They're gonna wanna send tap roots into the ground next to the pumpkin. You're gonna wanna free up those roots and get that position so the pumpkin can get 500 and 600 pounds. By the time it gets to 500 and 600 pounds, it will snap itself off the vine if you don't do fruit positioning. Growing the plant wild, you could probably let the vines go wild. It'd be all right. You wouldn't have to prune every vine and get all crazy. But fruit positioning is a must. And along with that, I would suggest sand under the pumpkin. Sand is great under a pumpkin because what that allows is bugs don't like sand. It's very abrasive. It's dry. You don't see worms crawling around in sand too often. They don't like it. So the sand is a good buffer to put under there. You don't have to put a sheet of plywood or Delta, just a couple inches of sand. It's better than having it set in mud and dirt, which will contain bacteria and get your pumpkin rotting. So that's number 4. Vine training to some degree. You don't have to get real technical, and fruit positioning is a must. All right, number 5. Number 5, and this is a very important one, fertilizing. You need to fertilize your plant every 10 days. Now, I told you I wasn't going to wander off and get into a lot of other areas. We'll save that for the number 2 video, how to get to 1 ton. But fertilizer every 10 days, that's old school. In old school, they would fertilize every 10 to 14 days, you'd fertilize your plant. Really doesn't matter, just an all around. Early on, you could use a grow fertilizer. You actually could use Miracle Grow all the way through. It doesn't really matter. If you're just shooting for 500 to 900 pounds, probably any all around bloom grow fertilizer that pretty much has your calcium, your nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, boron, your basic balance of fertilizers. All around fertilizer will work. I like water solubles. I guess you could go out there and use granulars, throw it down, water it in, let the rain wash it in, but you will need to add some fertility because you're not even knowing what's in your soil. You're probably growing blind. You don't even really know what's in the soil. It's going to need some additional help. All right. So that would be number 5, fertilizing every 10 days throughout the summer. keeping the plant as healthy as you can. But I know a lot of you guys, you got kids in baseball, you got the job, you got the wife, you got things to do. You want to grow a big pumpkin, but you don't want to spend 5 days a week in the garden. You're not going to spend 30 hours a week in the garden. So I just wanted to give you the basics today. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications, and I can link this back to other videos. I have Vine training. We'll link this back to Vine training. And please stay tuned for our next video with Josiah Brandt and myself. And we are going to tell you how to get to the 1 ton mark. For you guys that are more serious and you do have 5 days a week to invest that you can spend out in the pumpkin patch, a 5-day minimum, we can get you to the next level and you can grow a 1 ton pumpkin. Now that is part-time. You're not going to be out there 5 solid days, but you need to spend a couple hours 5 days a week in the garden minimum to grow a 1 ton pumpkin. All right. And if you've done that, if you've grown a 1 tonner and you didn't spend that much time, please leave a comment and let me know, hey, Bubba, I did it, and I only spent 10 minutes a day. I want to hear from you. Tell me your secrets. Please share them with us. All right? I'm getting a little long-winded here. We'll let her go. But, hey, thanks for viewing today. Thanks you for joining us for our top 5 things it takes to grow a pumpkin under 1,000 pounds. All right? All right. Thank you very much. And remember, keep it a secret, but go tell a friend. Bubba's sharing growing tips around the world.